So study guide, just so I have a recording of this, and there was one guy specifically who wanted it. So you should be able to answer these questions. You learn concepts. True or false? Libraries are existing solutions to problems that you can integrate into your own program. I'd say true. I think this is probably just like straight from his PowerPoint, what he says. So we can go look at that real quick. But I'd say that that's true because the concept of library is that someone has implemented something that's modular so other people can implement it. Kind of like there's graphical interface libraries, there's algorithm libraries, there's libraries that have just full games all done. You guys will be using SFML, which stands for Simple Fast Media Library, to create Minesweeper. So that has already solved the problem of displaying graphics to a computer screen, and you'll be integrating that into your own program. So yeah, I would say that that's true. True or false, libraries once set up and properly compiling with code are immediately done and work exactly as you want them to. That is definitely not true. Basically, anytime you see like, oh, it works perfectly, that's not going to be the case. Nothing works perfectly. You are still going to have to actually use the code, like write code for it and debug it. You could do something improper. You could use it not how it's intended. Anything like that could cause bugs for the person's trying to do. In C++, are libraries universally interchangeable? That is, will they work the same with any compiler or operating system? No. So in C++, there's various standards, various compilers. So it might not be true that it works with one compiler and operating system works for another. There are some programming languages that are like Java. You guys worked in Java. It specifically has a virtual machine that it runs. And so the virtual machine, the language to run, the code to run that is different per operating system. But once you have that done, the code to run on the virtual machine is the same across all platforms, no matter what, because now it's no longer what platform are you running it on. It is you're running it on the virtual machine, Java virtual machine that they have made consistent. So like it said, this answer may not be the same in other languages. That's because for stuff like Java, there might be others. It is universally fine if it compiles on one, it compiles on the other. But in C++, it's not true. And this becomes definitely true like when us TAs grade your guys' code, because sometimes a TA might have a Mac or a Windows computer and you did in the opposite. And so we have to get help from each other. So I have firsthand experience with that. Okay, so that looks like just all the library stuff. It's very just a conceptual kind of thing. Each library is implemented differently. So when you get to the SFML library, you'll see how that works. But we'll cover that when we get to project 3 a lot more. Soon, since you get it assigned next week. Yeah. I think you get it assigned next week. Yeah, so yeah, right here, project 2, and then here, project 3. You get that next week. Quiz, lab, quiz, final exam, and the project. So it's going to be due the same week as the final exam, looks like. Fox is wild. Y'all don't even know. You guys are getting it easy. Project 1 used to just be one submission. There was no multiple parts. If you fucked it up, you fucked it up. Like, not saying that just because other people suffered, you guys should suffer, but the Fox is having a great. You guys have, I don't think I've ever heard a bad thing about Fox after this class. What's up, Carrot?
What is the point of only having one submission? Because like it's not like a program is expected to produce like a perfect result. Like
no, like one part. Sorry. So that in your project 1 was 4 parts, so like it built up. It used to just be one part, all of it, submit all of it.
You can still like test it and submit it multiple times. Oh. Okay. I'm misinterpreting.
And Victoria, if you don't like Fox, it's totally valid. Like just because I love him and I've only heard good things doesn't mean that he might do something for it. But yeah, no, y'all just appreciate what you got because there's definitely it doesn't get better. Okay. Okay, so study guide died here. Okay, so now what is a pair? So a pair in the context of maps is a key value pair. You could kind of think of it like a function. A function is mapping x to y. And so each x is your key and there's associated value y. Keys are unique and value, oh, and it says it right here too, key value pairs. Keys need to be unique. You can't have a map that has one key that's two separate values. You could have a map that the key is unique, but then it stores a vector, so it has multiple values that way. But it's still a unique, it's still one key to one vector. You couldn't have like a map of ints to characters and have two ints result, one int result in two separate characters. You couldn't do that unless you had like a vector of characters or an array of characters or something. So yeah, keys have to be unique. Values don't have to be. Keys are how you use the map. So like if you had a map, you would give it a key and it would return a value. The other way around doesn't work. You can't give it a value to get a key. What are the two ways you can add key value pairs to maps? Oh, I know a specific way, but we can go look at it. Map C++. But there's like an append and then a more generic version.
I think it's in place and then the brackets.
Yeah, in place definitely a thing, and then you think brackets.
Because that's like a force entry. Like you can overwrite using that.
Oh, there's no, because brackets, I don't think it's insert and in place. I think are the two. Yeah, brackets, I don't think you'd be able to do that with. We can go try it out.
Yeah, that's what he said. I mean, that's what he said in lecture.
We will go try it then. You know, if he said in a lecture, that's the big facts. Fox is in fact more knowledgeable than I am on the topics of C++. Who could have ever guessed that? So hashtag include map. Here, map. And then it's templated. You need two things. So we're going to do int the char, sure. So you said var1 equals C is valid.
Yeah.
Let's look. Do I have the right project? Look at that. Okay, valid. So I'd say there's three ways if this is what this is saying is true. So
He
it's like,
never went over insert in lecture.
you never did? Okay.
I don't think so, but I know he went over in place.
All right. Well, it looks like insert is a thing as well, because it just looks like as long as you construct it as you're passing it in like this, that it works. So if we got that and then var dot insert was it pair? Yeah, pair int pair. 1 2 G, sure. Two. And then var dot in place. What is in place taken? Oh, just two elements. Okay, perfect. 3 U. Okay, all three of those work. So it's not just two. Wow, Fox made a potential mistake. How dare he? So as long as you understand, so it said that Carrick said that he did the brackets and in place. So that's the ones you need to know. Insert might be like a more optional one if you see that. But as always, if you take a test, if you think you're right, put what you think is right answer and argue it after the fact. Fox will give points if he's wrong. But he probably, if he knew of insert, he probably would not have said 3. That happens. Okay, so what are the, so we did the two ways you can add. What are the two ways we can access values from the map? I bet that's brackets and at. I bet there's like an at function. Yeah. So here I use brackets every time, but you could also do dot at like that. Oh, I did not like that. Oh, I'm an idiot. There we go. So yeah, at uses the brackets, square brackets or square brackets. At uses regular parentheses. Works. So I'm not lying to you. Cool. So yeah, add or brackets. They do the same thing. Yeah, both of them access elements. Just it depends on how you want to write it. That's just a personal choice. What happens if we try to access a key that doesn't exist? I bet you get an error. We'll see what happens when you try to access a key that doesn't exist. Or it's like end of map or something like that. Oh, it's just blank. Nothing happens. Okay. Let's see what it actually says here, though. So I bet it returns end of.
I think it just prints out. I think I remember what he said is like it prints out like an empty version of like whatever value like thing you're trying to access, or like the default. Like it creates like a default and puts it there.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I bet, so yeah, default for our character is probably empty. I wonder if we did just int to int.
Go to 0.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Care. Is it 0? Okay, so yeah, it just returns what the character, right? It returns whatever the default value is for that. I did not know that behavior, I'm gonna be honest. So yeah, good thing to know about maps, C++ specifically, they return the empty value. That could easily be different in other languages, but you guys need to know the C++ one for now. Okay, can we have duplicate keys in a map? I said no. I'm going to prove it to you that it's no in a second. But that's just like a hard pass for that. So if we did, oh, not that. If we did that, I think it just overwrites it is what it's going to do. Or no, it's an exception. Oh shit, nice. This one probably overwrites. So I bet if we did, so yeah, if it's an error, it's an error. If we did var1 equals C and then var1. I also did ints, so it doesn't really matter. 10, sure. There we go. So we did this. I bet it just overwrites it. Yeah, so that overwrites it, but I guess for certain functions, it does throw an error like we saw a second ago. So for, oh, did I already have them open? Where's return type? For error. Single state elements for the no change exception. So yeah, I think that is what that's saying. It's going to throw an exception. I guess I could just show it. That's complicated. Var dot insert var int 1 is 30. Okay, and then 10. So I bet this is going to be an error because this is a function. Oh, no. So it kept the 30. So insert, so brackets, it overwrites it. Insert, it just doesn't change it. And then I bet if we use in place, that's the one that threw the error a second ago. So I bet it's going to throw an error again. There, dot in place. 130. Okay, so good thing we went over that then. Oh, what? Why did this not do anything either? What threw an error? There was definitely an error before. I changed this to 1. Yeah, that threw an error. Oh, it's because I didn't have 2. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Okay, so it never throws an error. I'm so sorry. It never throws an error. Okay. But so insert in place, just don't do anything. And then brackets overwrites it. That's what it is. Sorry about that. Can you have duplicate values in a map? Yes. That's just yes. So no duplicate keys. Yes, duplicate values. I'm not going to test that. True or false, maps are continuous, just like arrays. I'm fairly certain that depends on the implementation.
In lecture, he said no.
That would make, I would assume no, just because you can insert weird places, so the time management of that would be bad. But I 100% bet there's a way you could have a continuous map if you felt like it in a certain language. Okay, but yeah, lecture then no. Okay. Typical index-based loops don't work with maps. What should we use instead? So yes, if you're trying to go through, like if you don't care what's in a map, you're just trying to go through all the elements, you can't just do like a basic for loop with I starting at 0, map.length, anything like that. What we can use is iterators. So iterators, I've mentioned the concept before with linked lists. There was a concept of an iterator. If you want to like print forward or print reverse, you shouldn't change header tail. You should use an iterator to go through each object. Well, iterators are a very standard concept. So we're going to just do same thing here. 2, 3, D, E, sure. And to go through each element, not caring anything about it, we're going to do technically the full thing would be map. It'd be standard : map int char : iterator. Yes, that's it. Var dot begin. I think that's legal. It doesn't like that because of what? I'm going to finish writing. So then, oh, I need a variable that I equals. And then, well, I does not equal var dot end plus I. There you go. That looks legal. Awesome. And then cout I dot for not dot dash arrow. There we go. Second. No. Oh, well, first, sure. And space I second. So I've written this out. I'm going to run it and then I'm going to talk about it just to make sure that it actually functions properly. So what we got going on here, zoom in on that. So it's printing out each of the values and then their associated keys. So a couple of things to note. I is a pointer. So since I is a pointer, I had to use the dash arrow for the to access stuff, not just a dot. Another thing is these conditions here. Oh no, I'm sticking on the I. To access the different parts of it, there's first and second. That's just a generic way to talk about pairs, because pairs are not unique to maps. They're unique to maps in that maps use them as a key value pair, but you could use pairs in many other contexts. So if it's not key value, a more generic term for the is just first and second for the two elements of a pair. So that's why it's like that. So I is pointing to the key value pair, the pairs. The next thing you note is this conditional up here. So we said I equals var.begin, and then I does not equal var.end. So var.begin returns a pointer to the first, not first like that, but to the first element of the map. Some maps are ordered, some are not. This map is, I think, an ordered map. Let me try. I can change it by doing 2, 1. I bet it is. I bet it's ordered. Yeah, it's ordered. So this is an ordered map in that the elements are sorted by the key value. So even though we inserted var2 first, it came after the 1 here. So that just means it's a sorted map. But some maps are unsorted. So the first element would be the first one you inserted. That's up to how the implementation does it. But it returns 1 to the first element. And then var.end is not actually an element in the map. It doesn't exist. It's not null pointer, but it is just a non-existent element that is what is after the last element, So I think var.end returns like, it's like standard, it's map end of something.
I had a question. If you didn't have like those values like in order like you have now, and you'd use an iterator, would it print anything for like the in between values, or would it skip them and just print out like the keys that are valid?
What do you mean?
Like because you have like var 1, 2, and 3, but if you had like if you did like assigning another one like var 56 is equal to like f, would it go through? Would it print out like something for all of that?
No.
Okay.
It will stay ordered, but no, it wouldn't do that.
Okay.
That'd be the type of thing you'd see in an actual array-based map. Fun fact. Because I was about to say, like in data structures, we've talked about maps specifically that have arrays in the back end. And so you might come across that when you get into data structures, just that concept conceptually. But yeah, no, not in this case. And then it returns. So it's past the end. I guess it is just map.end. It doesn't have a name. Okay. But yeah, just note that var.end is not a valid element. Just know that. So if you tried to print, out when it was this, it would give you an error. And then plus still works with iterators. It just goes to the next element. I've never seen an iterator that was implemented that didn't have the plus keyword. So you'll never see it in like the standard library where it doesn't. But if you're using one that someone else made that's like custom, maybe you'll miss it. But standard library, all iterators have this plus. So begin and end are also very standard as well. The last thing to notice is this right here. So it's standard map int char iterator. It's a standard scope resolution operator map int char scope resolution operator iterator. We can get rid of the standard : because we're using namespace std. Technically, I bet we can say using namespace map int char if we really. This is bad, but you can't even. Yeah, okay, no, that's not actual namespace. I bet we can say using.
In notes, he did it like a weird way. Like he defined like the iterator outside of the loop, and he said like map and then like key value colon iterator and then named it is equal to like map.begin. And then like he did for and then just a semicolon.
That's
And then
fine.
iter is not equal to like map.end plus iterator, like that
We can
kind
do
of.
the same thing here.
Yeah.
So a for loop is just 3 components. One of them runs before the for loop even starts running. One of them is checked before every loop runs, and then one of them runs at the end of every loop. So that's all that's happening. You could replace all of this with like you could do that,
Mhm.
and this is still a valid for loop. So yeah, however, if you want to break it up like that, that's fine. But the one, so out of how for loops are set up, the one thing to just see here is that this is very long. It can be a pain to write that out every time, especially if you're using like different maps. If you want to change something, you have to change it in all of it. You could instead just use auto. So we'll cover the auto keyword in a little bit, but this is why we cover auto when we get to maps, because that specifically is long and annoying, and auto is nice and easy. But it really just figures out what I needs to be based off of what you set it equal to.
Can you have a template map?
Like map T or something like that.
What's up?
Like with map with a T in it.
Yeah, like map like T1 and T2, so you never change any of them. So you have 2 template data types and.
But okay, you can do that if you make a template class or a template function. Like you couldn't just put T2 here and T1.
I mean, like, okay. Oh yeah, but if you're okay, but you could do it in like a template function or something like that. Okay. Whoa.
That might be your actual fire alarm.
I think it is.
Okay, have fun with that one. But yeah, no, you can't just do that unless you're in a template class or template function. Okay, so continuing on. Have fun with that, Carrick. How do we initialize an iterator into the first element of container? Begin, just covered that. How do we check if we've reached the end of a container? Not equal end. So yeah, end is not a valid element. That is maybe not one of you guys, so it's usually not that high. It's not like 25%. Or actually, there's only 3 of you, 33%. No, yeah, so it's even less happening. Like I'd say like 1 in 5 people mess that up on like tests and stuff. End is not a valid element. Okay. It is after all the elements. So yeah. But that is how you check to see if you've reached the end of the container. What is the standard setup for an iterator-based loop? Right here. Auto I var.begin I does not equal var.end plus I. That's like the standard. If you wanted to relate this to how we do it for like just a general array, it would be like for int I equals 0, I is less than length plus I. Like both of those are just like, this is like the standard format. Just this one is for something that you have a length, this one's for maps. So yes. And then lastly, what does the auto keyword do? So the auto keyword, like I said, it figures out what the data type needs to be from what based off what you're assigning it to. You cannot do auto A and just leave it. That's a no-no. Because the way it figures it out is if you set it equal to something like a function or like 1 or something like that, it figures out like in the I bet it's in the preprocessor. I'd be shocked if it was anywhere else. In the probably preprocessor, but not guaranteed, I don't know. It figures out the return type of that, the right-hand side, and then replaces auto with that. I could see it being in the compiler. I could see that in compiler. Yeah, that doesn't that it's not a word for word replacement. That's compiler. Yeah. So never mind. Changing my bet for preprocessor compiler. But yeah, it does that. So you can't just do it set it equal to nothing because then there's nothing to compare it to. What must happen in order to use the out of keyword? On the flip side, when can't we use the out of keyword? So yeah, you can't use it like this. You can't have an auto array. You can't have like a vector auto there. Actually, I bet you could equals new vector in. No, yeah, no. Oh, hold on. Include vector. Yeah, no, it does not. Oh, a new is also no. Yeah, auto's not allowed there. So there you go. Can't have like vectors of it or arrays. I bet you could you have an auto new in. Oh, that works. You can have a pointer. So I bet that means you could have an array of that. Sure. 5. Sure. Never mind. You can have an array. But the whole point is that on initialization has to be known. And I guess templates don't like that. So not templates either. So both those cases. Yeah, good frame of reference is it known when that is created? Yes, you're probably good. If it is known, then you're probably fine to say that, but like every once in a while it might not be. Carly, are you in this section?
Nope, but my TA isn't holding lab. Is this okay?
Hey, if one of my students has a question, I gotta prioritize them, but
Okay.
okay. But so yeah, that's the auto keyword right there. Cool. Any questions on the study guide?
Yeah, wait. So auto, it like if you have something that's defined before and you're using like that same sort of context, it can figure that out and fill it in for you.
So are you saying like if you had int a equals 3 and then auto b equals a, like that?
Yeah, like in that sort of context.
It figures it out for you, yeah.
And then like how would it do that in like in a for loop? It's the same because like it just assumes you need like an iterator to like know like to go through your array or whatever.
When you do like auto I equals there dot begin, like that.
I mean, yeah, that too. But I mean, yeah, for like an array. But does that work like that?
Yeah, this is the example we used, yeah. So yeah, this works by begin has a return type. And so since it returns something, it makes auto that return type.
And when would you not? What did you say about when not to use it?
You can't just do auto B.
Okay.
And then it also looks like templates can't use it. So if you do like vector auto C equals vector int, it did not like this.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Yeah, no. You could do, why is this not no suitable defined constructor? Yeah, okay, that's fine. You could do auto there. And so now it's that way. That's fine.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
You can put auto inside the template part.
Okay.
So yeah, auto itself is not actually a data type. So when you're doing like isn't there like instance of isn't it B dot instance is, hold on, there's a way to check classes in C++. Scientific objects. Oh, is that really the only way is dynamic casting?
Type info. That's cool.
Oh yeah, that's not something I'm even gonna get close to touching. I'm not getting anywhere near that. Okay, so yeah, so never mind. I have a friend who's actively dealing with that right now, and I did not realize that was the only way to check types in C++. That's so fun for him. It's okay. He goes to another school entirely. He's doing this to himself. It's fine. Okay, so that's it. Yes. Any questions about this? Okay. Cool. Now, image processing. I know it's due this Sunday, so it's probably like the big one. Y'all, I see. Yeah, your eyes just got wide. So is there any like general questions about this before we go into like specific help? Because I understand that's probably what a lot of you want. So any general questions about it?
No, my only question is the one I had before, and I think I can figure everything else out from there. I'm just having that one issue with my my template out file method.
Oh, make files. That's so true.
Oh,
I did say I would go over that this week, didn't I? Make files are a big fact. Okay, so cool. Okay, do you want make files first or your general question first? Okay, so make files. I promise you, it is literally a basically one line thing. It's 2 lines technically, yeah, for the rule, but the first line doesn't really matter. Okay, so first things first, if you're on a Windows machine, it's a little more painful. But I still prefer it. Actually, I don't even have it installed, so this is going to take even a second for me to get there. Yeah, I will. Yeah, there's no native make. Okay, can you just use a window make file in Windows? I don't think you can. No, it's neither of those. Yeah. So I think in here we specifically say it has to run. Where do we say testing them? So there may be some minor adjustments you need to make. Go build function. You can have Windows substitute. So yeah, WSL is what I would use, and that's what I'm about to do real quick for you guys. Yeah. So for Mac, it's a little more straightforward. When I get to a certain part where it's the same for everyone, we'll talk about it. But for Windows, we got to do this first part. So WSL, or Linux, is that just what I need to Google? Oh, of course it opens Bing. We love it. Yeah, Windows subsystem for Linux. Okay, this is fine. Sure. Simplified install, sure.
yeah, you could just do like a Docker thing too, if you wanted.
I don't know what that means, but sure. I guess with the manual install, sure. So open PowerShell, run what I just said. Elevate permission required using elevated command use. Okay, so now when you run PowerShell, right click it to run as administrator. So yeah, it's a whole process. Oh, I'm so here for this because I haven't done this yet either. And none of you guys have CISC accounts. I'd be shocked. You need putty for that anyways. Okay, check requirements. What is this update? Check version, build number, it's update, you must be running Windows 10. Oh yeah, okay, we have that. I have that, at least I know. I just updated my Windows. Okay, enable virtual machine features. Copy this. There we go. It does say I need to restart my machine. I guess technically I have you guys here, so we can talk. Okay, sure, I'll restart my machine. It shouldn't take too long. So once you get to here, restart. I think I can just make myself a host. Sure. There we go. I'm still here. I'm going to restart though. Yeah, my old computer I already had it installed, but I guess it's good to show you guys walk through this. But you have a Mac, so you're fine.
Yeah, so I could just do it through.
You should just be able to. Yeah, we'll be doing it through command line too, but it's just the extra step to get when Linux installed, which allows you to use and make files by default.
Well, I guess the thing that, because I remember we spoke last time, like remember how to get one file, one value, so like one minus whatever, in order to like do like some overlay
Okay, yeah.
function.
Mhm.
I'm still confused on how we get that out.
Where does the algorithm's like 1 minus
Yeah,
a minus 1.
we get the one. I remember you saying something about how we get the one value.
Well, it's just because a and b have to be values from 0 to 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then that's it. You just use 1. It's just,
You don't convert anything. You get-
well, you have, so a and b in
Oh.
your things start as 255,
A
0 to 255, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you convert those to 0 to 1, and then the algorithm is just 1 minus that 0 to 1 value, whatever the like. What do you mean get the 1? You just type in 1. I'm confused. What do you mean get the 1?
I don't know. I'm not there yet.
Okay.
So I'll figure that out when I get there.
Wait, I have a question to hop off of what Abigail was saying. Like, can't we just like, wait, let me look at my code. Can't we just do something like divided by 255 and then do the like plus 0.05 to like factor in for the fact if it rounds up or round down? Like, can't we do that to the colors? Like make it a float and then like after we get the colors, if that makes sense.
So
The conversion.
keep
That's
the
what I thought too.
keep the values as 255, and then do the math, and then divide it. Okay, that's sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for like, is that okay for all the operations to kind of just do like that little conversion outside of the
I
math?
mean, I will tell you, I don't give a shit how you figure it out. Like, if you want to find a trick to it, that's fine. But the algorithms we give you assume that the numbers are from 0 to 1.
Yeah. Wait, the algorithm, are you the algorithm as in like the equations?
Yes, when it says 1 minus a times 1 minus b or whatever, it is assuming that b and a are 0 to 255. If you want to flex your math skills to make it simpler calculations, go for it.
No, I know.
But those algorithms assume the numbers are 0 to 1.
Okay.
They assume-
Understood, Stephen. Understood.
So we convert the pixels to 0 to 1, so when we subtract by 1, it makes sense, pretty much. Okay, so we have to convert the pixels.
Convert the red, green, and blue values of these pixels to 0 to 1. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely, like, you're talking about dividing by 255 and adding the thing in there. Like that is called math shenanigans. You are no longer doing the correct algorithm, you're doing math shenanigans, which you can do. But just make sure, like, if you want to do that for all of them, it definitely can get a little wonky.
I'm just wondering, like, how do we know which value gets 0 and which one gets 1?
What?
I don't understand.
So like if you have a number from 0 to 255,
Yep.
0 would map to 0, 255 would map to 1. And then a number like 127 would map
Got it.
to
I got it.
0.5 or like 0.49.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we create makefiles on Mac through command line, right? Just to verify.
How do you make them? Oh, you don't have to make it through map. You run it through command
Right.
line.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get into making it in a second. Let me just. Get here. Wednesday here. Start. Back. Okay, share screen, share. Here. So yeah, the Windows, that's system for Linux. Save first link, go to the step that was after the restart. So right here was the restart. So download the Linux kernel update package, download the latest thing here. Desktop, sure, that's, I'm gonna put it down. No, if using or not, run the updated package, download the previous step, double click to run. Sure. We prompted to elevate to just like yes. Once the installation is complete, move on to the next step. WSL is your default version. Next. Yes. Okay, sure. WSL 2 versus 1 is fine. I would just do 2. Personal choice. I think the installation is complete. Copy this. Power. There we go. I might need to run as administrator again. We'll see. Okay, so yeah, got that there. Install your Linux distribution of choice. So this one going to Microsoft Store. Open Microsoft Store. I would do Ubuntu. Yeah, and I think I should tell you to do Ubuntu as well. It's also, I think it was right there. Yeah, no, it was right here. Cool. Because that's the one that's installed on the lab machine. So this is the one that's like guaranteed. And that should take a hot second. Yeah, it's gonna take a hot second.
Are we making the height the same in every file?
No. Yeah. The question was, are the width and the height the same in every file? No. They are different.
So like when you're multiplying or combining the files, do you have to multiply the width and the height together? But
Are you talking about for the extra credit?
no.
I mean, combining the files together. Like doing multiply?
Yeah.
You're saying, do you have to multiply the width and height? It's going to result in the same width and height.
Because I do images, right? So the width and the height for image 1 and the width and the height for image 2 can be multiplied those together.
If you had an image that was 2 pixels by 2 pixels and you're multiplying it by an image that was 2 pixels by 2 pixels, would it end up larger? Okay, so let's look at, I think, what is it for? Task 1, it says multiply layer 1 and pattern 1. Let me go here, input layer 1 and pattern 1. It's gonna take a second to open in GIMP, that's fine. And that results in example part 1. Question in the chat while it's
So I'm
open.
just wondering, you know, on the pixels, but when. how about, like,
Oh yeah, Carla, you can't have any extensions. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so question was, when you're multiplying images together, do you have to multiply the dimensions? So this is image 1. This is image 2. You're multiplying these together. Do you see what that results in? So it results in this.
Exactly.
So does this have more pixels than these two? The image width and image height are the
So
same.
we just bring one heading file
Yes, so you pick one. Yes.
to, okay, that's what I'm doing. I thought that error was.
Your question, what you're saying, like your initial question, are they all the same width and height? The answer is no, but when you're combining two of them, yes, the two that you combine will be the same, yes.
That's why I asked factors questions.
Okay, yes, but the one that's gonna be different, I think it's like text is different.
Is that for like the attribute?
No. It's for tests. It's test 10. Yeah, that's what it is. Text 2. Yeah, text 2 is different. Yeah, text 2 does not have the same width as it does height.
When you're trying to write out, you maybe select that one as the header.
Well, this one, test 10, you're not combining anything.
Oh, okay, all right.
But yeah, Carly, I'll get to that when I talk about like actual doing make files, but yeah, you don't combine them. Okay, so we got here, Microsoft Store. Oh, it's taking a hot second to download. Yes, I think we say that in the doc as well. Yeah, your submission, you create a zip file with only this SRC folder. And that should contain your source and header files, nothing else. And then a make file.
Okay, thank you. I'm actually gonna head out.
Okay.
Take care.
You too. So once that gets done, is it complete? It might be complete. Yeah, I don't need to do that. The Windows terminal is fun. We already did that. Work on that. Oh, product is installed. Okay, cool. Launch. Might have fucked that up a little bit. Okay, so here, install. Get sure here. Then you need to create a user account password for your Linux distribution. What the frick is Hyper-V? I'm gonna try restarting my computer again though. It says that might be a fix and I'll do the Hyper-V thing. But yeah, an actual, it's really not that daunting. It's just all the setup to use a make file that's just like, fuck me. So. Yeah, Carrick, if you've been using command line to compile stuff, a make file will actually look very similar.
Yeah, I don't know. When I had my Mac, I could use like the debugger and all that, but I could not get that to work with VS Code on Windows. I don't know why. I tried troubleshooting it, but like it was like,
Well, VS Code, you don't use the debugger. Oh, wait, but like you can't, I know it exists, but it's harder. Visual Studio Community is what you want.
I have that, but like because when you try to create like the project, it creates like this Visual Studio, like whatever, like its own template for its projects. And like,
What do you do to create the project?
well, don't you have to do, it's like you go into Visual Studio and then you do, because I can't just like, I tried to just like download I tried to just like open like a file, like I created like the project structure that we wanted, and I tried to just put that into Visual Studio, but like it wouldn't let me do it.
No,
Like,
yeah. So it
I had
with
to create like a solution or whatever.
Yeah, you can't take a project structure and put it into, that's harder to do. But you can still use it to debug code just in general and then put it into the project structure later. That's fine.
I could do that and make it easier for myself.
Okay, no, it looks like it's working now. So back to sharing the screen. Yeah, it looks like it's installing. It's like a few minutes, but it's good. So when in doubt, restart your computer. I've had that fix many an issue. Yeah, Windows, there's some things that are more painful, but there's a lot of things that are easier. Just appreciate it. But yeah, like for this project, Carrot, I would create a new project, empty project. So if you can also find it, if you Google, not Google, but in the search, just do empty project. Next, call it whatever you want, wherever you put it, wherever you want, create.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
But I can't bring in like a file into Visual Studio, right?
There are definitely ways you can.
Because it was not working for me. I don't know why.
So then from here, if you want to bring in files, first thing is the one weird thing that is only important if you're trying to bring in files is that there is this file structure on the right here that's fake. This is fake, entirely fake.
What? Oh.
This thing on the right here, I don't know if you can see it, does not mean anything.
Okay.
The actual important part is if you right click your project and then open file, opening File Explorer, this is the important part. Like all this here. So if right now I went to source file, right click, add new item, call it source.cpp, sure. So like right here, it's under this folder. These are really, they're called filters. They're not actually folders, but if we go into in the File Explorer, it's got put there. And so everything just goes here.
So can I put a file in there, like a file of images?
Yeah, so the next thing you would do is then in here, go into image processing, and I would move the input, output, and examples into here.
So that goes.
And you could also, I think you could also move source into there, move that there.
Oh. Okay, wait, let me try that.
And so now with this source in the SRC folder, whatever files you put in there, then you click and drag them to here.
Okay. Okay. Oh.
And just understand that, again, this is just filters. This isn't actually a file setup. So the file is still right here. So you're still good. But the one, I think you have to keep track. I'll get into that in a second. Let me see if you
So
can.
where? Okay. Okay. So I just did all that. Like I moved it all in here. But oh shoot. Oh yeah, I just moved it all. Like
Wait, I'm gonna worry about that in a second. I'm sorry if you're like in the middle of stuff now.
that's fine.
But at this point, I now have WSL installed, so we can start working with make files and stuff. We talked about like dir, ls, cd and shit. Oh, did I get disconnected? I totally got disconnected. I love edu so much. There we go. I'm back. Well, I was always here, I guess. It's valid.
No, actually, I saw you. You're lying to them.
I'm lying to them. You're right. You're right. Okay, so with Windows Subsystems for Linux setup, now from here you can do like ls to see everything. There was nothing there. The first thing that I do in WSL is I just do cd ... until I can no longer do it. And then here, if you ls, you got a bunch of stuff. Ignore it. Just do cd, and it's mnt. Where does that exist? I know it's there because I just typed in tab and it worked. MNT. So yeah, MNT. And then if you ls cd into the C drive, ls, there you go. So when you're in WSL, just cd ... as far as you can, and then cd mnt, and cd whatever I have a C drive. So like desktop, like here you see you have a C drive. So now I'm in here. And so now when I do ls, it lists all the stuff from there. Like you see users, Windows, we are now in the same file system. You're in your Windows file system on a Linux operating system. So that is the goal you want to get to. So from here, I'm going to cd users / Steven / desktop ls. So now I'm in my desktop. Is this a good enough place to start this? I'll go into project 2, what is it called? My project Euler. Was it not a I thought I put a project 2 somewhere. Image processing. I'm so sorry. Image processing. There we go. LS. So now I'm in the image processing folder just as a PDF. That's fine. So that means now I can put a make file in here and I can see it in here. Now it's the actual process of making a make file. So now this is for everyone. Oh, Carrick just left. Perfect timing. Victoria. Angelica.
It's okay, I call you Stefan.
It's payback. It's not payback for that. I would. Oh yeah, no, Stefan just hurts my soul with an A or even.
Okay, call me Angelica.
I've called you Angelica so many times. I'm just saying this is not, we're getting the, oh, Victoria, I don't know if you have a Mac or not, but okay, well then, Abigail, Victoria, I'm sorry that you had to sit through all this, but now we're into the part where it should be the same for all of you. So, oh, hey, Carrick. Okay, so to make a make file, I personally use Visual Studio Code, but you could, theoretically, you can do it in any, because a make file needs to not have an extension. So it cannot be .text. It cannot be whatever the fuck. But there's a lot of file systems that if there's no if you like try to save it with no extension, it saves it as a .text and just doesn't show you the .text part. So it's very important that it's not .text. So you cannot go into here, new text document, make file, and you're like, oh, look, it's a make file. I'm so good. But then in here in the WSL, I'm going to do ls, and there's make file .text. No, it's not good. So no make file .text. I think in here you can actually Google make a new file in Linux terminal. So how to create a new file in Linux terminal. I bet there's just like a function that does it, a command. Okay, so touch short. What the fuck that means? I think this is better. I don't know what the hell touch does. So here, make file. Perfect. So that was a way to make a make file with the little, I think you could do that in Mac as well. You could try that. If it does work. Yeah, you can try that. And WSL definitely works. So that's just one way to make a make file. And the capital M, lowercase m does not matter. I'll show it, I'll prove it if it does not, but there you go, make a make file. Inside the make file, there needs to be a rule. That's really all that's required. Inside a make file, you need at least a rule. And a rule is just, I don't know why it's called a rule, but it's called a rule. I go to here. Now in this make file, I'm going to open it with any text editor. I'm going to open it with code specifically. I think you could open it with like text or something. Okay, awesome, cool. So we have a make file. Now in here, if you use Visual Studio Code, it has like a little orange M next to it, that means you're on the right track. But I don't, if it doesn't, that's also fine, as long as it doesn't have an extension. Yeah, then in here, you have to put a rule. I personally, it doesn't matter what you call your rule. I'm gonna do just all colon, but it has to be something, single word, colon. I do not know the limitations of what that word can be. Don't be putting numbers in front of it because that's usually not a good thing. Don't be putting spaces in there. That's usually not a good thing. Stick with just alphanumeric character, alpha, not even numeric, just alphabetic characters, please. But technically it could be all, it could be rule, it could be something, whatever the fuck I had pad and for something else just to kind of talk about the thing, but I would put just like all, perfectly fine. And then press enter. So there should be all colon enter, and spaces are important in make files. So don't be fucking around with the syntax. You know, when you see like Hacker Voice or Hacker Man on a TV show and they're like, I'm so cool, I'm so good. And they're like typing shit in and it's like, what am I trying to say? Like typing stuff into terminal, it's so cool. It's the same thing. You can't, like, terminal stuff is very like space important. Spaces are very important now. It's only in higher level programming languages where spaces are important. So it just forgets about them. But here, very important. And right now I did all colon enter, no spaces. Right here, don't put spaces. We want an absolute lack of spaces. It needs to be a tab. Specifically a tab character, not 4 spaces, not spaces until this is the colon, a tab. So now that you've got, and be careful if you try to open the make file in certain programs, it might replace the tab with 4 spaces. You can have, there's a lot of fun times when people being like, why doesn't this work? And it's because there's 4 spaces and they're like, I used a tab. I'm like, something made it 4 spaces and you opened it and saved it. So tab. I personally would highly recommend download, because the Visual Studio Code is available for Mac or Windows. It supports tabs. I know it does. It's like a guaranteed, but tab, very important. Like this has happened more than once and it's the student's fault, but like it's not, like I understand where it comes from. Tab, okay. So then from here, you want to do G++, and then -std for, I'm just gonna find it. Make file, C++ example, sure. On here, there's gonna be way too much shit, but I want just a specific thing. So I want like -O. Yeah, so if you Google like make file tutorials, you're gonna get a random shit that is not important. Here, it doesn't have the dash standard part. You guys, I think we do say you have to use the C++ standard 11. Where is it? Make files. Okay, so Canvas for something, sure. Because we do give you some information. It's just like how to use it that's important that I'm talking about. So you guys should have programming to. Is there make files on here? Make. No. Do you guys have access to all the pages? No, you don't. How do you? That's not a concept anymore. Is it in project 2 thing here? Is it a make file thing? Oh, perfect. So submission, test, run, build. Okay, so example how to create make file, sure. Okay, but this is what I wanted. Oh, perfect. Literally right here. Oh, this is gorgeous. So literally all you need to do is copy and paste this right here. Right here. And now from here, there's some things you need to change. So this is just a generic one for anything. I think in here we say it needs to be called the output file program. Where is it? Okay, so program name. To test for us, please name your executable project 2.out. So that's important. So right here, instead of my program, you put project 2.out. You can do this with -o file in your make file rule. So that's what happens right there. And then right here, at this point, you list the location of all of your C++ files, your CPP files, not your header files, just the CPP files. And so your CPP files are going to be in the SRC folder. So it's going to look a lot like src/main.cpp and then src/ image.cpp if you have an image file, sure. Like you just list them, just one space one, and you put src/, it's going to be in your src folder. There is a shortcut for this. If you want to figure out how to do that, I'm going to leave that to you guys. That would make it shorter, but it's not required. So I'm just going to leave you with this. But this is a valid make file. Just to kind of see it in action, if I do src, I'm going to put src/main.cpp. Yeah, okay. Save this here, image processing here, make file, new, oh, shit. New shortcut then. New folder src in here. I'm gonna open you with code. This is just to create a file. You don't have to follow this part. Main.cpp. And then hashtag include IO stream using space std int main 0 out hello world. Yeah, okay, that should all fix properly to that. Okay, cool. Save this. Then in here, so right here, if I put ls, we got the make file, the src, the make file, where did I put that? So here, I'm just making sure that it's saved, making sure the other thing's saved. Sure. And then here, I'm going to type make. Not found, installed with, okay, sure, fuck it. I'm shocked that it wasn't initial install. Okay, we're good, we're good, okay. ls, we're still in the right place, okay, make. G++ command not found. G++ dash version. Okay, and I gotta get that too. Sudo apt install G++. Continue, yes. Okay, so yeah, you do. So you will need to do those two things. Basically, in at least Windows, I don't know, maybe for you guys it's Homebrew or something. You guys should already have G++ installed because you need to do that for CMake, right? For CLion.
Yes, you're right.
So yeah, if you use CLion, you should already have that done. And I think, does it come default with Make? You might have to test that.
It comes in main company, but we have to update it every so often. Like I forgot
Okay, well then that's okay.
for us to look.
Sure. Where in Canvas is, okay, so yeah, you guys don't have access to the pages tabs. That's kind of deprecated because you changed it. But to get access to this folder, it's in, if you go to project 2 image processing, there's a bunch of links here. And at the bottom, it's for the text-based description of make files right there. Yeah. Okay, so from here, it looks like everything got installed. I don't care what it's unable to fix. That's fine. So then now G++ dash version. What? Get error. whatever, I'm just gonna type make again, see what happens. Ugh. Come on, G++. Sudo apt install. One more time. Yes, did I break you on accident by doing something? No. Apt get update. Let's try restarting. We love restarting. I also want to do this before this lab ends. Ugh. You guys have to do this too, I guess, so it's important. Stop sharing. Try Google it real quick. I remember this being more straightforward than this last time. Don't know. I wish you guys were just in person. But like in the everyone in person in the lab rooms. Fuck COVID, basically. All my homies hate COVID. Yeah, theoretically, a working computer would already have that installed. But so what I talked about is still valid. The whole G++, change it to project2.out, and then listing all your CPP files, that's correct. So if we don't get this working today, which I hope, it should be able to get this working right now. Hopefully the restart fixes the access permissions, because that would be the cause of that. I'll go take a look. What's up? Okay, so my recommendation was that off. If you're getting that off of a value in the Victoria, in the multiply function, print out the two initial values and print out the result. And you should be able to see where you could see the calculations wrong. Like if you got two numbers, 250, like 255 and 255 multiplied together should be 1. And if you're getting something different, then that's bad. But does that make sense, that process? Okay.
Because it should be 1.
Yeah. And so then once you see the calculations off, break down the calculations. So if you're converting from 255 to 0 to 1, print out the 0 to 1 values, and you should be able to see that 250 matches to 1 and 0 matches to 0 and 1. Well, okay, so are you just multiplying together and storing them in the thing? See, that's a hard no.
Okay.
Okay, again, it expects the 0 to 1. So if you're multiplying two numbers together and they're not in that 0 to 1 range, you're going to end up with a very large number, and that's going to be incorrect. Yes, if you just multiply 255 and 255 together without doing any math shenanigans, you're going to be wrong. Yes. Yes. If you want to just stick with 255 and want to avoid rounding to 0 to 1 as much as possible, then you've got to flex your math skills and do some shenanigans.
Can I just multiply them together and then divide them into 1?
Math shenanigans. Again, you can do that. If you think of a way to do math shenanigans, live your best life. But I highly recommend making a function to do this. Okay, share screen. Load up. CD MNTC users desktop image processing plus make plus sudo apt install g plus yes. Let's try run apt get update. No, what? Let me finish. Okay, WSL can't install G++. I'm connected to the internet. Very poorly connected to the internet. Oh my God, I'm not in. Oh my God, I got disconnected. I love UF with a burning passion. Wait, oh no, yeah, okay, I'm still there in the school computer. There we go. Share. There we go, installing. Nice, well, install Windows 7 Linux reboot, install Ubuntu, run bash. Make it sudo apt update to update the vehicle packaging. Do soon. Didn't I do that? Oh, sudo. There we go. There we go. Sudo apt update, not sudo get update. Maybe I just misread that. There it goes. Okay, and so now we can do sudo apt install g++. Yes. Oh, there we go. Okay, so sudo get update. And there's the,
Is this still on the
yeah, this should all be in one video, one long video. Come on, you're so close. I feel like the scientist in Jurassic Park's like, "Oh, you're freaking out of your eye."
I know.
Doesn't he turn out to be evil or something?
Yeah, he did.
Well, I guess that's what speaks for me.
Oh,
You okay?
yeah.
Okay, there we go. Now, ls is a make file, there's the SFC, make. There we go. ls, look at that. Project do.out /project 2.out. Hello world.
Yay.
So this works. Hopefully you guys will be able to copy this. If you run into an issue with this process, feel free to email me, message me on Slack. However, I did go through a couple of errors that you guys will probably run into too. So hopefully that helps as well. Just being able to see what I Googled and go into those links. And then it's a video, obviously, so you'll be able to pause. You guys have access to the video, right? Yes. Okay, cool. I have one person that's like, what was your thing again? What do I need? It's like, it's in the video. You can just go back to that. I was like, there's a video. It's like, well, I guess I stopped mentioning it after like the first 2 weeks, but yes. Well, I think sometimes I'm like liking some.
I know. You have to do that.
I think I did that like once. Okay. So
I was
that's.
on YouTube last week. I saw myself
Ooh, well,
in your video.
yeah, I could see.
There.
Everyone's participating. Okay. Any other questions about project 2? Even consider if it make files specific or any other.
Just my personal question, but no, nothing.
You've asked a fair bit of questions, so I'm gonna take his now.
Yep, yep.
Stop sharing. I'm gonna end the recording now, so that's fine.